All right, another class that had a whole lot of kicks in it, but this time we did a little bit of sparring too with the kicks. During our line drills, we also did rolls. We've been doing rolls a bunch the last couple weeks, sometimes usually forward, sometimes back as well. And this class we also did some like jumping rolls, like leading up to dive rolls. So like the instructor put out a pad and we had to roll over the pad. Then we jumped right into kicks. The first drill we did that we did for quite a while was a pad drill with partners. The kicks were low round, middle round with the front leg, the right leg, and then middle round with the back leg, the left leg. The pad holding for this is a little different than back home. Back home, I feel like we'd have two pads, one in each hand, and for that low kick, we'd hold against the back of the leg, and then we'd hold them both up for the middle kick, and then both up for the middle kick on this side. But in JKD, we were holding them sort of like this, so they were pads in each hand, low, and then middle, and then middle again. I don't think holding the pads that way is better or worse than what I'm used to, but I feel like it's a little more complicated. Just holding them like this is easier than sort of trying to brace yourself the right way. And I kept putting the pads in the wrong place for my partner, messing up her kicks because I couldn't switch fast enough. For some reason, I was also having a lot of trouble judging distance on those kicks. I don't know why, but I think it's because of where on the foot I was supposed to be kicking with. I am used to kicking with my shin. I like doing roundhouse kicks with the shin. It's pretty hard, it's pretty strong, and it doesn't hurt too much. But we're supposed to be doing our roundhouse kicks with sort of like this part of the foot. The way that I like to roundhouse kick hitting with the shin, my foot is going to be behind whatever it is I'm hitting. But since the way we were holding the pads, I was afraid if I kicked with my shin, then my foot was going to hit my partner. So I was trying to pull it back a little bit, which I actually needed to do since he wanted me to kick with a lower part of the foot. But I ended up pulling it back too much and just kind of hitting with the top of my foot, which hurt quite a bit. So I'm going to have to work on that distancing a little bit, changing up what part of my foot I'm hitting with. Then we did how to block some roundhouse kicks. So the first kick was coming in low to the inside of the leg, and we were sort of doing like a Muay Thai style block. And the second one was coming in sort of waist or middle, and we were using the backhand to sort of protect and the front hand to sort of push it down. And then that side, the back leg kick, either the same thing, protect with that backhand, push down with the front, or do that sort of Muay Thai style block. So the blocking combo is either 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 3. They seemed okay, pretty normal. I've never done a block with that hand coming down before though. I've always just kept them both up. So that was an interesting new way to block. Personally, I think it's probably less useful if they're kicking really, really strong. Then you probably want to have both arms there to brace to block the kick. But if it's not a super strong kick, only using that one arm might be okay. And if you can catch it before the kick finishes, you might be able to push it down before they've finished putting all their power into it. Maybe. I don't really want to have someone kick me full power to find out though. Then we did some blocks, some hand blocks for the kick. So if the other person comes in with like a side kick, sort of shuffle back and push that kick out of the way, which pushes their leg that way. And then we could come in with a roundhouse kick to the back of the leg, or a side kick to the side of the leg or the body. We did them as partner sparring drills, and then we did a little bit of sort of free sparring, but kicks only, practicing the kicks that we'd done earlier and the defenses to those kicks. Definitely the strangest thing I saw in that class though was the use of the arm during the roundhouse kick. So while I was doing my roundhouse kicks, I got told that I needed to throw the arm down as I was kicking. So if my right leg was kicking, it would be my right arm, and I needed to throw it down as I kicked. I found that super weird. From a performance perspective, I think it's really cool. If you can do it fluidly, I think it looks good. But from a self-defense perspective, I'm not quite as sold. I asked what it was for, why the arm had to go down like that. I'm not entirely sure what the answer was. Again, my Chinese isn't great. I'm trying to work on it. But I'm pretty sure I heard power in there somewhere. So maybe that arm is throwing down to create torque of your upper body in the opposite direction of your lower body. If your leg is going this way on the kick, throwing the arm down makes your upper body go that way. So they're going in opposite directions. I probably should know why you want to do that, but I don't. So if you know, leave me a comment down below. Educate me. This hand is still up to guard your head as you do that kick. It's still here to guard, but this hand is just doing nothing. It's not attacking, it's not defending. I feel like it's not a good use of the hand. If you need to create that opposite direction torque with your upper body, you could throw your elbow and still keep your hand sort of close to your head to defend. So instead of throwing it down like this, where it's useless, I could just throw the elbow, which keeps the hand sort of close to my head and it can defend while still creating that rotation with the upper body. Hand kind of useless, hand still sort of useful. I'm going to keep doing it that way in class though to hopefully glean some new information. Maybe I'll recognize something in a later class that makes it more clear or be told something. Another very kick-centric class. This class was actually almost the same as the previous week's class. Or at least the stuff we practiced was very similar to the previous week. After all of the normal intro stuff, we went right into more roundhouse kicks. We practiced blocking them, just like the previous week. Then with all of the kicks, we did some sparring. So normally when I've sparred in JKD class previously, it's been all sort of boxing, all hand techniques, no legs. But the sparring in this class was only legs, no hand techniques. Other than that, it was pretty much what you would expect from sparring. We had cups, we had shin protectors, and then we just practiced the different combos and blocks that we had done earlier in class and the week before, but in a sort of free sparring way instead of a back and forth partner drill. One new thing in class this week was a sweep. The instructor showed us sweeps from the roundhouse kick and from a front kick. The roundhouse kick ones were similar to what I'm used to doing back home in Tung Sudo. It wasn't exactly the same. Back home I'm used to sort of doing it, just catch the kick and then come in and sweep. But the JKD one had a little bit more of a pull. So you sort of caught the kick and then sort of pulled it as you swept so that the person kind of came at you and tripped over your foot. The front kick I'd never seen before. I've never seen like a catch and sweep to knock someone down from a front kick, so that was completely new to me. I wasn't very good at it. As the front kick was coming in, you were supposed to sort of step back and catch it, and then sort of pull the leg in and down, and then sort of out to sort of get the person to just sort of fall. Honestly, I was kind of bad at all of them. Sweeps were never really my forte, so I was never great at them, and nothing has really changed in JKD. I'm still not super great at them. So it was good to do them because things you're bad at are probably the things you need to practice the most. So hopefully we'll do them again sometime in the future so I can get more practice doing them. Pretty tiring class overall with all of the sparring with the kicks, mixed in with a little bit of interesting new stuff in the sweeps that I definitely need to keep practicing.
Okay, great. Okay. Okay, great. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, and this. Okay.
Alright, in this class we did a lot of building on the stuff that we'd been working on the last couple weeks. Doing a lot of kicks, roundhouse kicks, some side kicks, some front kicks, and we'd been doing a lot of combos with those kicks. And we did a lot more of that in this class. We just kept sort of grinding that stuff that we've been practicing for the last couple weeks. We did some open pad work. One person had pads and they just held up targets for the other person. Then from there we spent pretty much the whole class building a pretty long combo. So the whole combo was jab, jab, cross, hook, back leg roundhouse kick. Then the pad holder threw 2 roundhouse kicks, and the attacker had to block them the way that we practiced in a previous class, guarding the head or the body with one hand and blocking with the other hand, and add a counter. So block 1 kick, counter, block 1 kick, counter, followed by 2 back leg roundhouse kicks to finish. So 1, 2. I liked building up to a combo like that. You get to start small, practice it a little bit, and then as you start to get good at it, you start adding a little bit more, which you then have to start practicing to get good at. I also liked the combo. It had a good mix of punches and kicks. It also mixed in some defense at the end when the pad holder kicked and you had to block. So there was a little bit of offense and a little bit of defense. I was stepping wrong for a little bit of it. The instructor corrected my steps on those first couple techniques, the jab, jab, cross. So I've been sort of stepping in and turning a bit. On my jab, you can see that my front foot is sort of sideways a little, which gave me a little bit of rotation for my jab. But the instructor told me that I should have been stepping straight forward, so it's a little bit quicker, and so that I can turn into the cross a little bit easier. At least I'm pretty sure that's why it was wrong. I mentioned in a previous video that the hook punches are different than what I'm used to, and I'm still having some trouble with them. I'm pretty sure the normal advice goes that you want to keep the bones in your hand and wrist and forearm straight, and I think that's the problem that I'm having with the hook punch. I think that when I'm throwing the hook punch, my hand is not straight. It ends up being bent too much, probably in as I throw it. So then I kind of hurt my hand. I find that after class, a lot of the time, either my pinky or my thumb hurts. The reason might be that I'm trying to punch too far away. Instead of trying to punch really close to me, where it's easier to keep that hand flat, I'm trying to punch too far out, and then in order to hit the pad remotely straight, I need to sort of bend my hand, and then my wrist is bent and I'm getting hurt. So I think what I need to do is close the distance between me and the pad more before I throw those hook punches, so that hopefully I can keep that straight and not get hurt. I also really started to show my age in this class. Back in high school, I hurt my knee, and it's never been right since. Towards the end of this class, my knee just started acting up. Last week, my knee started acting up towards the end of class. My knee or my IT band, maybe. I'm not sure which. But it started acting up, and it hasn't been great all week. So today I am going to try to take it a little bit easier in class to try to keep my knee from getting worse. Maybe I shouldn't go at all, but I still am. Fingers crossed nothing bad happens. Alright, an inside video for today because it's been raining for like 2 days. We started out with 2 hand combinations that we did as pad work. The first and more simple one was just jab, cross, hook, and then retreat. The pad holder would sort of swipe at your head for the retreat. Then the more advanced one was jab, cross, hook. Started the same way, but then the pad holder attacked 4 times, twice to the head and twice to the body. And the pad hitter needed to block the attack and then counter with a hook punch. So the whole combo was jab, cross, hook, and then block, hook, block, hook, block, hook, block, hook. Like I said before, I like pad drills where the pad holder can attack. It makes it a little more dynamic than if they're just holding up pads and you're punching, and then they hold the pads up again and you punch again. When all you're doing is punching over and over and over, it's easy to overlook other important things that you need to pay attention to, like your positioning, keeping your hands up, stuff like that. But when the pad holder can attack, you have to pay more attention to that stuff, or you're gonna get smacked upside the head because you weren't paying attention. The end goal, of course, is to have sort of open pad work where the pad holder can put up any target they want and can attack you whenever they want. Then the pad hitter needs to be paying attention to what targets he's being offered and what attacks the pad holder is giving him so that he can react accordingly. But in order to do a drill like that, you need to work your way up with more structured drills, which is what we're doing now. Then after those 2 drills, we sparred for the rest of class. And unlike the sparring in previous classes, this was full sparring. So we could punch and we could kick. We had full gear on, gloves, shin pads, helmets, the whole 9 yards, and we just had open sparring for a couple minutes at a time before people switched. Pretty similar to sparring back home, but sweeps were allowed. I don't think I've ever sparred with sweeps being allowed, so it was a new thing that I had to make sure I paid attention to so I didn't end up on my butt. I guess only the first one was back leg, and then it becomes the front leg. But 2 roundhouse kicks with the same leg, the one that is in the back to begin with. And I really hope it doesn't start raining before I finish. Doesn't look super great.